Hello community, it's Courtney with Grand Park. Welcome to your Yoga Ala retreat. I'm really glad you're here to practice, to carve out time for yourself, to do some self-care. And today I would like to offer the thought that yoga is a practice of presence, which I think we know. Those of you who are new to the practice, welcome. But yoga really is, and it even says in the very first Yoga Sutra, and now begins the practice of yoga. So yoga isn't something that we're achieving or striving to or kind of remembering from the past. It's something that happens right now. And in my experience, one of the quickest ways to get present is to focus on listening. So listening in many forms, listening to the body as we physically practice. So honoring, modifying, depending on how our bodies are doing each day. Listening to our hearts. So when we really get still, when we're able to go into our own hearts, I find that we are able to better recognize the hearts of others. And actually just even the physical practice of listening. So like listening to the sounds around you can be a great mindfulness tool to feel your connection with everything, to feel into the senses of the moment. So we're gonna start practice with just a short meditation today. So let's find a seat. So you can be sitting on the floor like I am. If that's not right or comfortable for your body, you are welcome to sit up in a chair, in your bed, on the couch. If you are sitting up, just make sure that you are grounding yourself down. So maybe placing your feet on the floor if you're in a chair. If you're seated on the earth, really grounding whatever is touching earth down into the earth. Let's settle our shoulders away from the ears. Soften your eyes closed or choose a single point of focus on the floor. And first, just committing to being here. So notice your breath, maybe acknowledging this shared moment in community together. And this is where we're going to start to listen to what we hear in our immediate space. So both the sound of my voice, maybe the sound of wherever you are, your work, your apartment, your home. Using the sounds around you to draw yourself into this moment of now. Getting really curious. So what do you hear? Do you hear the ticking of a clock? Maybe you hear the buzz of a refrigerator, or the mumble of another voice, or the screaming voice of a child. Just kind of notice what you hear and see if you can feel your connection to that. So instead of resisting it or fighting it or seeing it as an annoyance, can you see it as a gift to draw you into the moment with that thing? Maybe starting to hear outside your space. So can you hear birds, car swishes, construction, beeping, sirens, neighbors? Also feeling your connection to those things as a way to get you into the here and the now. So I'm going to give us another 30 seconds here, listening. And when you notice yourself thinking or doing something else, just notice. Maybe say thinking or just identifying not doing it, and then bring it back to the act of listening. What can you hear? How can you connect to it? And then from here, I'm going to ask you to place your hands over your heart, listening into your own heart. So being really tender with your heart. And just noticing, like you would a friend asking a friend how they are, asking yourself how you are in this moment. And just allowing whatever is true to be true, not fixing it, not shying away from it, just acknowledging whatever is in your heart. And meeting that feeling with some supportive breaths. So just taking a couple breaths into whatever your beautiful heart is feeling right now. Can you sit with yourself? And then drawing your hands together in a gesture over your heart, bowing your chin into your heart, and maybe just setting an intention to honor whatever is in your heart today. So if you learned anything about yourself, maybe finding a word or a short phrase that would help you support yourself. And the intention I'm going to set for us all is to listen to our bodies as we physically move and breathe together. And I'll be offering modifications today. Please take them if you notice that you're out of your breath, if you notice that you're shaking and you're kind of withholding breath, or it's causing more strain or exhaustion than it's worth. So of course, a little challenge is good if you're up for it, but yoga is truly a practice where we honor ourselves and take care of ourselves physically on our mat. So let's find our way to the mat, unless you're already there. So making your way to child's pose. So child's pose is a great offering of surrender, of connection to the earth, of starting over again. So knees come wide, big toes come together. Sink your hips back for your heels. If your hips don't naturally touch your heels, maybe put a blanket or a pillow to offer support and to extend your heels up to your bum. And then tap your forehead down on something. So maybe it touches the earth. If not, maybe you can stack your fists and rest your forehead on your fists. You could also put a pillow or a blanket or something like a book underneath your forehead. So really giving the hips a chance to rest, the forehead a chance to rest. Soften your eyes to a point or closed. And just allowing yourself to rest, to feel your body touching the ground. Start to take a little bit more control of your breath. So inhaling, exhaling through your nose. Exhales match the length of your inhales. Slow, full, steady breaths. And we're all going to do our best to maintain this breath as we practice. If at any point the breath feels like it's in control of you instead of you being in control of the breath, please come down to this pose and regather yourself. And then you can start again and join us whenever you're ready. From here, making your way up to hands and knees. So wrists stack underneath the shoulders, fingers spread wide, knees are underneath the hips. You can tuck your toes. You can take the tops of your feet down. Press into your knuckles so you're lifting up out of your shoulders. Belly scoops up into spine. Head is in line with your spine, so you're looking down at the floor. We'll start to connect our breath with movement, and you can always move on your own breath if my counts are too quick or too slow. So let your exhale come out. As you inhale, belly drops, heart rises, the back of your head reaches for your tailbone. And then exhale, round in your spine, nose goes in towards your belly button, head releases. A few more rounds like this. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, curl in, nose goes to belly button, upper back domes. Inhale, belly drops, heart rises. Exhale, rounding in your back. Find your neutral spine. Walk your hands a little bit farther forward, and then we'll take some big hip circles. So hip circling is a great way to kind of listen in to your hips. So we're really going to kind of tune into different parts of our body today as we practice. So almost like each part of us had its own little radio station. We're just going to notice. Be honest with what's going on. Honor what's going on. Switching your circles the other direction. Really nice, everyone. Come back to center, a neutral spine. Keep your hands where they are. Tuck your toes. Send your hips up and back to the sky. Put as much bend in your knees as you need. And then listen to the whole back body here. So bending our knees is a way to modify down dog. There's no need to force anything, especially this early in the practice. Armpits are hugging in, head is released, weight is forward into the knuckles, heart pressing back for the thighs, heels reaching for the earth, hips reaching for the sky. And then anything that would help you tune into the back body here. So maybe bending one knee, flattening opposite foot. Maybe coming down into child's pose if this is not feeling right in your body today. Maybe taking some yeses and nos to tune into the neck. And then walking your hands back for your feet. You can bend your knees a lot here, a little bit here. You can also take your feet as wide as you need for your low back. So the wider the feet are, the more release there will be for the low back. So give yourself the opportunity to release your low back. So you can bend your knees, you can take your feet wide, maybe grabbing opposite elbows, maybe letting your fingertips dangle. Definitely let your head dangle. Pressing down into your feet, feeling that as your anchor, start to roll yourself up to stand. Finding your way to mountain pose. So heels are stacked under hips, hips are stacked underneath shoulders, palms come wide, shoulders roll away from ears. From here, let's take a few shoulder circles. So inhale, shoulders reach up and back and down. Up and back and down. Up and back and down. And then we'll switch it the other way. So around and up and down. Back and up and down. Take one more. Settle your shoulders down. We'll start to move a little bit more. Remember, we're listening today. We're honoring what is. We're taking modifications if needed. So let your exhale come out here. As you inhale, draw your arms tall to the sky. Exhale, bend your knees as much as you need. Forward fold, release your head. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, release your head. Inhale, draw your arms tall to sky. You can look up if it feels good on your neck or not. Exhale, hands come into your heart. 2 more times, breath and movement. Inhale, arms draw tall to sky. Exhale, fold in half, bend your knees as much as you need, let your head go. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, release your head. Inhale, draw your arms tall to the sky. Exhale, hands come into heart. Inhale, arms draw tall to sky. Exhale, forward fold, release your head. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, release your head. Inhale, draw your arms tall to the sky. Exhale, hands come into your heart, mountain pose. Inhale, bend your knees, sit back into your little chair. Feet can stay hips distance or heels and toes come together. First chair pose. Heart reaching away from tailbone, hands active, shoulders roll away from ears. Find your breath. Exhale, extend your legs, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, hands come down, step your feet back. We're gonna pause in our plank pose. So remember, you can tap your knees down and still get all the benefits of pose. So with your knees up or with your knees down, scoop your belly into your spine, press into your knuckles, and lift up out of your shoulder. So like you're pressing up into your shoulder blades here. Take a few breaths here. If this pose is giving you energy, stay. If it's not, tap your knees down or find your way to child's pose. As you exhale, hips come up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps for right hand. We're staying up on the ball of the back foot today. Right knee is stacked over the right ankle. So we're gonna work our way up into crescent lunge, and I want us all to give ourselves permission to set the left knee down, maybe now or at any time. You can also come into child's pose. Arms come to the side like wings, heart reaching forward away from your fingertips, and then pressing into your feet, make your way up to crescent pose. So if your low back is like, ouch, I don't like this, you can bend your knee a little bit. You can also set your left knee down. See if you can steady your gaze on a point, steady your shoulders away from your ears, hands active. Nice sink into the right hip. Find your breath. And then as you exhale, hands frame your right foot, step your right foot back to plank, downward facing dog. Other side, left foot steps for left hand, left knee is stacked over left ankle. We're up on the ball of the back foot. You can totally tap your right knee down. Arms come to the side like wings, heart beaming forward. Looking down at your mat, establishing the anchoring of your feet, and then pressing down into those anchors, coming up, crescent lunge, bending your back knee any amount, or setting it down. Hands active, shoulders release, gaze steady, breath fills in. On your exhale, hands come down to the earth. Left foot steps back to plank, downward facing dog or child's pose. We'll take a few breaths here. Regather your listening. You can do that by focusing on your breath, noticing what's coming up in the body. We're going to come in for 2 rounds of flow, moving into our crescent series. So all those poses we just did, we'll connect them, 1 breath, 1 movement. Remember, you can always modify, so put a knee down, take a rest in child's pose whenever you need. Looking towards your hands, step your feet. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands go down, plank, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps, carry it up, crescent lunge, left knee up or down. Exhale, hands go down, make your way back to plank, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps, staying up on the ball of the back foot, carry the inhale up, crescent. Exhale, hands go down, find your way to plank, downward facing dog or child's pose. So a few breaths here. Let your head go, recollect your breath. One more round just like that or not. So you can always take rest. Looking between your hands, step your feet. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands go down, plank, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps, press down, rise yourself up. Exhale, hands go down, plank, down dog. Inhale, left foot steps, press down, rise up. Exhale, hands down, plank, down dog or child. So a few breaths here. From here, walking your hands back for your feet. Remember, putting as much bend in your knees as you need. And then rolling yourself up to a stand, mountain pose. On your inhale, send your arms tall to the sky. We're gonna get into the side body. And we're not gonna force, we're gonna listen and we're gonna breathe. So we'll start stretching the right side. So grab your right wrist with your left hand, ground down into your right foot, and then reaching up and over from the anchor of your left heel, reaching over to the right, any amount. So it could be a itty bitty stretch, it could be a really big stretch if that causes more space. So we get really good stretches when we can breathe with what we're doing. So not forcing and holding breath, finding that spot, that sweet spot where we can breathe and move tension out. Inhale back to center. Ground down, especially into your left heel. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. And then any amount, listening to your left side body. It could be a bigger movement, a smaller movement than the other side. Coming in to reach up and over to the right. Grounding down into the left heel. And then inhale back to center. We're just gonna do little reaches side to side. So like you were climbing a rope. Keep grounding down into your feet. Moving mindfully, slowly finding space in your side body. Gorgeous. So one more standing pose. We'll come into tree. Tree is a great pose for focus, for balance, obviously. It's also a really good way to put ourselves into the moment because we have to focus to balance. We can come into relationship with our mind and see maybe how the mind is affecting the way that we feel in the shape. So we'll build it really slow. Remember, we're gonna honor where we are today. So we always should do that, but we're really focusing on seeing where we are today and matching the energy with where we are. So hands come to your hips to start. Find a gaze point, probably not at the screen, maybe a little above the screen, something at eye level or slightly above. Settle your shoulders away from your ears. And we'll do this pose from the breath. So find your inhales, exhales. We'll start on the left leg today. If you want to come to a wall too, please come to a wall. You're welcome to always have support. So grounding down into your left foot. If it helps, you could lift your toes up on your left foot, spread them wide, set them down, really grounding down into your left foot. So gluing the left foot down, sending your left thigh to press back slightly. The left leg becomes the trunk of our tree. Keep your gaze point steady. And then here, we'll take the right foot like a kickstand at the left ankle. This would be a great place to come to the wall. So left hand at a wall if you want. Left knee is tracking out, right knee is tracking out from the head. Gaze is steady on a point, jaw is soft, shoulders are soft. Focus steady, breath steady. And then I want you to be really honest with yourself here. So we're already in tree. There's no need to do anything more. There's no need to prove anything, to push. So I'm going to recommend, if you're feeling a little bit wobbly but challenged, please stay here. If this is like super easy for you, you feel maybe a little bored, you can take the foot to the calf or the inner thigh, pressing the leg into the foot. So not on the knee, calf or inner thigh. And then just kind of see where you are there today. So if you notice like, whoa, now I'm really wobbly, take it down. So modify. I'm going to recommend keeping the hand at the wall or hands at the hips. If you want to grow your branches or maybe take a prayer at your heart, you're welcome to do that. Steady focus, steady breath, steady mind. Supportive wall if you need. And then on your exhale, releasing out. So new side, new opportunity. We're going to listen to this side. We're not going to use the information of the other side to inform this side. We're just going to use this side to inform itself. So let's do all that due diligence on this side. So steady your gaze on a point, eye level, or maybe slightly above, something that's not moving. Shoulders are soft, jaw is soft. Start to bring in your steady breath. Maybe lift up in your right toes, spread them wide, set them down, glue that right foot to the earth, send that right thigh back. So the trunk of our tree is on the right side this time. You can take your right hand to a wall. And then from a place of steadiness and focus, take your left foot like a kickstand at your right heel. Left knee tracks out. Right hand can come to a wall. Notice what happened to the breath, what happened to the jaw, the shoulders, softening. Option to stay here. Going to recommend to stay here unless you will get more focus and stability from the foot at the calf or the foot at the inner thigh. Remember, if you're choosing one of those things, press the leg into the foot. If you notice that that is causing frustration or you're kind of fighting it or forcing it, come back down to the foot at the ankle today and start to grow your shape. So having a foundation, so it always helps to have a foundation before we jump ahead. Find a position with your hands. They might stay at the hips. You might grow your branches. You might take a prayer at your heart. Take one more beautiful, large, full inhale. Same large, full exhale. And we'll release, mountain pose. So making our way to legs up something. So this is a great pose for the moment to focus in, to listen. So I'm gonna say legs at the wall, but that doesn't mean you need to use a wall. So this is a closet door. A closet door is a great thing. So not a door where someone's gonna walk in it. You could use a cabinet, you could use a wall, you could use maybe if you have like a headboard on your bed, anything that doesn't have stuff up on top that's gonna knock over and fall. So whatever you're choosing to put your legs up, tuck yourself in. So it really helps to set up this pose. I know I say this a lot, but by setting it up, we have to do a lot less later. So shoulder, doesn't matter which side you're coming in, shoulder and hip at the wall. And then we'll slide down to the forearm, same thing, shoulder, hip at the wall. Keep as close to the wall as possible as you send your legs up and your bum touches against the wall. So if your bum is not at the wall, come down, tuck your shoulder and hip back in, send your legs up. You could also, if you have a chair without a back on it, you could take this pose with your feet through the little back of the chair, resting on, so your calves would rest on the chair. That's also a form of inversion. Or you could use your couch or something like that. So you could take your bum to your couch, you just have your knees bent. So inversions are great for resetting, for grumpiness, for exhaustion, for all the things the last year has been for many of us. So allow yourself the space here to be held up and to rest. I'm going to give us a couple minutes here. You can take your arms wide. You can rest them on your body. I would recommend softening the eyes closed. It's normal to feel tingles in the legs. If it's ever too much sensation, listen to that. Bend your knees and put the soles of the feet against the wall, or you could use that chair or couch. So we're gonna listen in. So it's really helpful for us to notice and witness ourselves relaxing, because we notice ourselves in stress and low-grade stress a lot. So it's good for us to see ourselves in more relaxed states of being. So see if you can stay here, engaged in your relaxation, and I'll call us back in a couple minutes. from here, we're gonna come to hip stretch at the wall. And we're gonna push ourselves a little bit away from the wall. So you'll slide your feet, your heels down to where your knees were. And then you'll just kind of press yourself away a little bit. So you're like a foot away from the wall. Slide your left leg back up. Take your right ankle up and over your left thigh. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna listen into the right hip and see what causes opening in our hip. So some of us will stay here. So you're gonna tune into your right hip, listening there. If you're not feeling anything, or you wanna see if there's a little more space available, start to slide your left heel down the wall any amount. So with the knee parallel to the heel, that will be the most stretch. The heel all the way up the wall will be the least amount of stretch. So listen into where you are today. So finding a place where you can meet tension with your breath. Maybe softening your eyes closed. We'll take 3 breaths together on this side. Let your exhale come out. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. Replace your right foot to the wall. Slide that foot all the way up. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. And then we're going to really listen to this side. So instead of just going into autopilot, doing what you did on the other side, really listen. So our hips can be very different. So maybe staying here if the left hip is already meeting some tension, or sliding your right heel down any amount. So remember, the more parallel the knee is with the foot, the more stretch for the outer hip. So finding your space, your breath. We'll take 3 breaths together on this side. Let your exhale come out. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. Through your nose, breathe in. Through your nose, breathe out. Replacing your left foot to the wall. Sliding your feet all the way down, rolling over to one side, making a little pillow for your head with your inner arm. Feel yourself connected to earth as you press yourself up. And then finding our way to a comfortable position on the back. I'm going to talk us through some finishing things. So maybe lying flat on your back. Maybe bending your knees, resting the soles of your feet underneath your hips. Really allowing your body to soften open. Really allowing your eyes rest. So closing the eyes, settling the shoulders away from the ears, softening across your body. So shoulders release, jaw, feet, and hands. And we're going to finish just like we started. So we're just going to take a minute here to listen to the sounds around us as a way to get present in our own body. So I'll be quiet for a minute, listening in, getting curious. When you notice you're doing something else, we notice and we come back to listen. your awareness to soften, we'll take a minute of rest here in Shavasana, final rest. Bringing awareness back to your breath. Finding movement in your fingers and your toes. Rolling over to your right side, making a shelf for your head with your inner arm. Staying here if you need more rest, or pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat, palms down on the thighs or up. Soften your eyes closed. And I'll leave you with this. What would the rest of your day look like if you actively made the choice to listen? So listening to your body, listening to your gut, listening to other humans, really doing our best to be in relationship to the here, to the now, to what is going on. Drawing your hands in a gesture at your heart, bowing your chin into the wisdom of that heart. Thank you all so much for practicing, for making this time for yourself. I'm so grateful that we were here together today. The light in me sees, honors, and listens to the light in you. Bye-bye, everyone.